Hello and welcome back. In the last video, we edited our analyzer program and added all this logic to multiply, divide, subtract, etc. Now, at first look, this is starting to look a little cluttery, and we see that we have logic spread all over the place, but it's not really looking very good. For example, what if I wanted to multiply again? What if I wanted to call this multiplication logic I have for another output? Okay, then I'd have to redo this whole thing again. So anytime you see logic like this repeated or has the potential to be called again, you want to extract it to a method. What do I mean by that? Let's create a method and we'll call it multiply. Okay, and let's see how that works. I won't update it here. I'll test it out in the console, or I can pull up my playground and do it there. So Ruby projects and then playground. So let's update it here. Okay. So to define a method, I can simply say define multiply and then end. Now within it, now this indentation is very important. The tab being two spaces, that's a near universal convention in Ruby. And also it'll help you differentiate where the method definitions are and where the actual code is. Okay. And we'll discuss this later also, because Ruby, believe it or not, has its own style guide. Okay, so let's look at our analyzer and extract this code. So here is what we have. Copy this, and then we'll paste it here. And then we have to pass in the two numbers we want to multiply. So we're going to say within brackets, first number, and then second number. Okay, so these are the two numbers that we're passing into the method. And what do we want our method to do? We want our method to convert the number. Now here we have to integer, but remember how with integers it's going to drop the decimal. We don't want to do that. We want it to be 2f, okay? So to float. So what this method will do is literally take the first number, convert it to a float, take the second number, convert it to a float, multiply the two and return it. Now in Ruby, the return is implied, okay? You don't have to necessarily say return first number multiplied by second number. It automatically assumes that it's going to return this if this is the only statement or if it's the last statement, all right? So that's my method. Now how are we going to run this method? I want to print it out, right? So anytime I print it out, I can say puts, and then I'll say multiply, and let me give it two numbers. I want to multiply 5 with 10. Okay, save that. Now let's run this. So Ruby playground.rb 50. There you go. There's my answer. So my multiplication method is working. Now what if I want to multiply another number? So puts multiply 20 with 3. So this should give me 60. Save that. Run. 50 and 60. Perfect. So my multiplication method is working. So similarly, we're going to do this for the division and subtraction in our analyzer program. So let's go ahead and take care of that. So back to our analyzer. First thing I want to do is I want to show you how to comment things in Ruby. Okay. So notice how please enter your first name over here. If I put a pound sign, the beginning of this turns into a comment, and Ruby will ignore this line. It will not execute anything after the pound sign in a specific line. Okay. If I want to code this line out, I can do that. Okay. So that's how you add comments. Another way is if you want to add comment after this line, so it will first execute up to here, and then you can put a pound sign and say this is going to get input from user. Okay, now this will also be ignored. So anytime you add a pound and anything after that, that will be ignored by Ruby on that line. All right, now if you continue down here and say I'm hoping this is a comment too, that will not work. This only works on the line that you put the pound sign in. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that. And so let's go ahead and add our method here. I'm just going to copy paste from my playground. Copy this, go back to analyzer and paste this, define multiply. Okay, so what I can do here is over here we're saying first number multiplied by second number, this whole logic. Now I can simply remove this, okay, first number, second number, right here. I can simply say multiply, then first number, and then second number, okay, and then save this. Now what this will do is it will multiply the first number and second number, and it will return the result to this, okay, and then it will print it out. Notice how we didn't need to convert this to I. We are basically passing the string version of the first number and second number, but the conversion is taking place in the method, right? So we don't have to worry about that. So let's try this out. Let me save this and then run this. So Ruby analyzer.rb. Okay, first number 5, second number 10. We have an error. What happened here? It's saying undefined method multiply for main object. Okay, no method error. But we have this multiply we're calling, and we have this multiply method right here. So what happened? What happened is when it came down here, it didn't read or it couldn't find this method multiply anywhere. Okay, it's defined below it. What happens if I just command X this, okay, go up here and put it right before this and then save that? What if I try that and then run this again? Okay, we'll try it again. Enter the first number 5, enter second number 10. There you go, it worked this time. The first number multiplied by the second number is 50. First number divided by the second number is 0 because you're dividing 5 by 10. The first number subtracted from the second number is 5. So it's 10 minus 5 is 5. The first number mod the second number is 5. Let's see, what do we have here? First number 2, let's switch this to F. And then switch this to F. Okay, save that. So as you can see here, we need to put our methods on top. So I'm going to do that. And first of all, I don't want to keep entering my first name and last name every time. Okay, so I'm going to comment this out temporarily so I don't have to worry about this. Okay, get rid of all of this because I'm simply dealing with the math right now. Okay, over here, please enter your first number. Now I'll take this, then I'll put it on top. Now let's do the same for divide. So I'm going to do here, I'm just going to copy this, okay, and then paste it, and then paste it again, and then paste it again. So I have multiply, divide, subtract, and mod. Now first number divided by that, okay. Now over here for subtract, we want to subtract the second number minus the first number. And here, percentage. Okay, so that takes care of the 4 methods. I'm going to save this. All right. So now it's going to basically say enter your first number, enter your second number, and then all of this puts, right? Now we don't want to do that. So I'll get rid of all of this and we'll come up with a better way of doing this right now. Okay. So what I want to do, again, let me get rid of this. Actually, I don't want this in comments either. Okay. So here I have multiply, divide, subtract, and mod, okay? Please enter your first number, please enter your second number. And we have the ability to get the numbers and do something with them. Now, I want to ask the user what they want to do, whether they want to multiply the number, divide the number, subtract the number, or find the remainder. So how do I do that? I want to prompt the user, right? I want to prompt the user to get input. Over here, I could say something like, puts, what do you want to do? And then I can say 1 multiply 2 divide 3 subtract 4 find remainder, right? So I can say puts, what do you want to do? I can give them the options. Now, how do I choose which option? For example, the user enters in 1. How do I choose to do 1? Or how do I read that in? We do that by using an if statement, and this is branching, okay? Now, in this case, there are multiple ways to do it, but basically, I want to cover branching in this video, and branching takes the form of this. If, and then condition, okay? And then end. So if this condition is met, then execute whatever logic you have within it. And then end. Now, if this condition is not met, skip this entire logic and move on. That's how an if condition works. Now, what if I have multiple items that I want to check for? You can do something like else, okay? Execute logic. So if this condition is met, execute this logic, else execute this logic and then end, okay? What if I have another specific condition that I want to check for? You can do this. Else, instead of else, just ELS IF. That's else if, okay? Else if condition, then execute logic, okay? So if condition 1, logic 1, else if condition 2, execute logic 2, else execute logic 3, and then end. So this is basically how you use an if-else statement, which we're going to use here. So what I want to do is I want to give the user an option to enter in whether they choose to multiply, divide, subtract, and find remainder. And I want to call this prompt. So prompt equals gets chomp, okay? So prompt gets the user to enter in 1, 2, 3, or 4. So let's go ahead and implement this. So if prompt equals, remember this is double equals for comparison. So if prompt equals 1, else if prompt equals 2, else if prompt equals 3, else if prompt equals 4, and then another else, and then end. So if prompt equals 1, puts you have chosen to multiply. If prompt equals 2, puts you have chosen to divide. Prompt equals 3, puts you have chosen to subtract. Prompt equals 4, puts you have chosen to find the remainder. Okay? Else puts you have made an invalid choice. Okay? Now take a look at this logic. If prompt equals 1, first of all, this is not going to work. Now take a second and think about why this will not work. Okay? I hope you thought about it. What will happen is prompt will be string, gets chomp, right? Which will give you a string. Now over here, I'm comparing string to a number, which is an integer, 1. So I can either convert prompt to an integer, or I can just make these strings. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Now you can go both ways. But now, let's see how our program would execute. First is going to say, what do you want to do? then it's going to take a look at if the input is 1, 2, 3, or 4, or another choice. And then please enter your first number, please enter your second number. Let's see if this works. First, I will comment this out because I haven't gotten to this yet. Now let's just test out whether these are working. All right. So Ruby analyzer.rb. What do you want to do? Multiply, divide, subtract, find remainder. Let's put an invalid choice first. I want to put 8. You have made an invalid choice. Okay, that's working. Okay, let's try 1. Multiply. You have chosen to multiply. It's working. Let's try 3. Subtract. 3. You have chosen to subtract. Okay, so I know now that this logic is working. Now, what do I want to do? What I want to do here is after the user enters in what they want to do, I want to get the two numbers. So here I'll do first number equals gets chomp, and then second number equals gets. And remember, we don't have to convert these here because we're doing it within the methods. Okay, but we have to let the user know that they're entering in the first number or the second number. So here we'll do puts enter in your first number, and then puts enter in your second number. So let's try this out. I'm going to save this and then run it. What do you want to do? I want to multiply. What is your first number? 5. Second number, 10. You have chosen to multiply. Okay. Now here, I want to add. You have chosen to multiply. And then first number with pound, open brace, second number. Save that. Let's see if that works. 1, multiply, 5, 10. Okay, you've chosen to multiply 5 with 10. All right, so you can make this look how you want. Notice how there's already some other logic you can extract, because here I'd have to keep entering in first number and second number on each one. Perhaps you could have a method and you can give those numbers to it. That's something you can probably explore. So back to our program. Now we need to store the result somewhere. Okay, so we're going to say result equals, we have to call our method. So our method is multiply, right? So multiply first number and second number. Now I'm going to copy this. You have chosen to divide. And then over here, I'll paste that, and then I'll change this to divide first number and second number. Then over here, you've chosen to subtract. Take this. I'll subtract first number and second number. Chosen to find remainder. We'll change this. There you go. What else? You have made an invalid choice. And then I want to print the result, because right now I have all the results depending on which prompt is chosen, but I'm not printing that anywhere. So let me do that. At the end of the execution of this if condition, I will say puts the result is pound result. Okay, save that. Let's try it out. Let's say I want to divide. I want to divide 10. I want to divide it by 5. Answer should be 2. The result is 2. Perfect. So our method's looking pretty good, and congratulations. Now you have covered branching and you've learned how to work with if-else statements. Okay, now this is very important and will be used a lot as you code in Ruby or virtually any programming language. If-else is one of the cornerstones of programming, okay? Branching, basically. So that's all I wanted to cover in this video. And in the next one, we'll look at arrays and iteration. I'll see you there.